Dropsy surprised me. The marketing has seemed to paint this as a horror title, seeing as the main character looks, well, like this. But after completing it, it seems to have been intentional. The game was a complete subversion of my expectations. In fact, Dropsy is about so much more than the scary looks and the crazy things that happen in its plot. The game begins with Dropsy, a clown-looking person who happily works at a circus with his mother and father, until the day an unknown person drops a lit cigarette, starting a fire, taking the circus and Dropsy's mother's life along with it. The game then skips several years ahead, presumably on the 5th anniversary of the fire, where Dropsy has been blamed for it. The circus has been closed down, being used as his home, with his father now working at a junkyard. Even though quite some time has passed, Dropsy still hasn't fully recovered from the death of his mother, if his dreams are any indication. His first errand, fittingly enough, is to put a photo, and a sock, to pay respects. After doing so, he's happy, and the game proper begins. Dropsy is a point-and-click adventure game. Most of the puzzles are inventory-based, but there are two interesting wrinkles to this. First are Dropsy's 3 animal companions. Dropsy befriends a dog, bird, and mouse throughout his adventures that help him solve puzzles, and help add variety to the kind of puzzles. But what really sets Dropsy apart from other adventure games is how it handles dialogue. All characters in the game speak through pictures, and when there is text, it's in a made-up language. This adds another layer to the puzzles, as to figure them out, one has to decipher what the puzzles are in the first place. It helps that most of the puzzles have a similar structure, which is usually helping someone out. The range of problems Dropsy resolves are wide-ranging, from trivial tasks to life-changing events, and they all play into this idea of kindness. One example is one of the first people you meet, a little girl crying about a dead rose. She doesn't have a fear of Dropsy, but is more preoccupied with the rose's death. Dropsy solves this by replacing the rose at night when the girl is gone. He comes back the next day to see the girl has cheered up, thinking the rose's return to form may be an act of God. She's now open to hugging Dropsy, completing the puzzle chain. Dropsy's small act of kindness brightened up her day. There is then the church preacher, who embodies the stereotype by preaching about the evils of smoking and rock and roll. This is on top of the fact that she has someone making sandwiches for the poor, when there's literally a homeless person right outside her window starving. Dropsy has to bring this to her attention by unlocking the window in the church, where she finally sees the error of her ways and fixes it. This in of itself would have shown the power of kindness has to change people for the better, but that is an incomplete picture of what was going on. If you go to the park at night, it is revealed that the church preacher smokes, unveiling a slight hypocrisy in her work. But that's not all. Later in the game, we learn that her father passed away in the fire, showing she is still struggling with that, as well as the responsibility of running the church on her own. It turns what would have been a harsh stereotype into a complex character with strengths and weaknesses, and all it took was a little understanding. There is also the case of the activist and the hermit. Dropsy first encounters the activist trying to expose the evils of S-Corp, and part of the evidence is purple crystals, which he does not let Dropsy take as he hates him. One can also see what seems to be a family photo with someone ripped out. Later in the game, Dropsy gets help to fix a boat that allows him to travel to a remote island, where you meet, or rather frighten, a hermit. While exploring his home, you discover the other half of the activist's photo, revealing that they are family. Dropsy then leads the activist to reunite with his estranged father in what is a very touching scene. The activist is now friendly with Dropsy, allowing him to take the crystals. Dropsy's kindness was able to reunite a family, altering their lives for the better. While Dropsy may have gotten crystals out of it, it doesn't discount the positive effects kindness had in all their lives. Finally, there is the interactions with who is essentially the antagonist of the game, the escort man. At first, Escorp is just a company in the background, until some accidental breaking and entering by Dropsy, which puts him in contact with the escort man. He wants to build a new circus, and make Dropsy and his 3 animal buddies the stars of it. Dropsy of course goes along with it, and once construction is complete and rehearsing has been done, it's time for Dropsy's time to shine. Everything goes wrong. The animal mutants escape, wreaking havoc across town, and Dropsy is left with only one option, confronting Escort Man. It is at this point that the Escort Man's backstory is revealed. He lost his family in the circus fire 5 years ago. The new circus was a ploy to get revenge on Dropsy. He never overcame the grief of his family's death. But that isn't all. If you construct the Dropsy statue, it reveals that Dropsy and Escort Man are royal siblings that are part of an alien race. On his way to Escort Man, Dropsy passes by everyone he's helped, urging him to reach Escort Man, knowing Dropsy would never do such a horrible thing. Dropsy's kindness allowed the town to come together and point out the real problem. Dropsy finally makes it to the Escort Man, and does the thing he does best. Escort Man faced the same problems his brother did, but couldn't overcome them. While Dropsy displayed kindness despite his pain, Escort Man let his grief fester and turn into violence. Dropsy is then taken away and sent into the light, in a way contrasting with Escort Man's pit of despair. It is there that Dropsy meets those living that have always loved him, including his alien mother, ending the game. He's back home. When I first sat down to play Dropsy, I had no idea this is what it was going to be about. Dropsy shows the importance of kindness, from those little everyday actions to life-changing ones, and even to those that seem undeserving at first. It just takes overcoming a lot of pain and grief to reach that point. It truly is a beautiful struggle. Thank you for watching.